I just want to discuss a bit more about self energy, and I've previously mentioned in some of my videos about breathing into self. And I hear other therapists speak for contacting self and feeling the sensations in your body, like tingling sensations. And we know self as the 8 C's and the 5 P's, and you could say that they're all kind of felt senses and experiences that we feel in the body. Okay, so that isn't self itself; it's the response to self. So when I speak for breathing, and tuning in with your breath and slowing down to really focus on the frequencies that are shaking, vibration, a subtle vibration in your nostrils as you slow your breathing right down, and you have to zoom in your focus to really notice the most subtle sensations. And at the same time, you observe your body. You're tuning into those vibrations in a similar way to Focusin Orientated psychotherapy. So Carl Jungs mate from the 50s. So this is a mindfulness way of doing it, but you're looking to move beyond the body, because self really isn't the body. It's held in the body. So if you, it's a relational thing. We can observe self and feel self, sense self, but we are not self, not the self energy so much. Anyway, we could kind of say we're the particle side of self. But we're also aware that we have self and we have parts. We're aware that we have a body and we have thoughts. We're none of those things. And we're aware of how self energy impacts us and how our parts impact us and how the information parts carry impact us. And of course, once they're inside your body, it's just information inside your body. We're born in this life and our body accumulates information. So just making this kind of approach to self be more aware that it's not something physical. It's held by the physical. Felt by the physical. Consciousness itself isn't the physical, it's more the software in relationship to the physical. So it's more of a meta-cognitive position, a meta-awareness. We could call self-energy the vibration of all parts, of all selves, that meta kind of symphony. That's the physical feeling. The music. It's not the consciousness itself, because we're conscious of that feeling. We're aware of that feeling versus the feeling of stubbing your toe versus the feeling of feeling scared if someone threatens you in the street or shouts at you, or you get lost in life, because you're attached to this something and it means a lot to you and it's gone now and you miss that. Feel sad. There's that energy that holds all of that. Already holding it. And that's what you can observe. You can observe yourself observing. I was just listening to some sort of podcast, and it's a live one, and there's this guy, I can't remember his name, this guy talking about this research and about more and more people um, living in solitude and not being around others, and how when they do brain scans with these people, that they find in that these people are much more healthy, and they have that more of that cognitive meta awareness and awareness of the cognitions, and a meta awareness where they unblended or differentiated from all these different aspects of what they have to do when they're not in solitude. Because, firstly, we can regulate ourselves, being inside ourselves. That's number one kind of thing, inside us. And then a lot of people find when they're in a social environment that they have to co-regulate. They have to regulate other people's stuff. They may be responsible for other people's feelings, and so it becomes a bigger task. And of course, there's a need. Every part of us has a need for self-reflection, solitude, to make sense and connect with our self-energy ourselves, and a need for social connection. So is one more important than the other? And it's interesting because there is more introverted people and more extroverted people. Extroverted people seem to depend on others and community, where introverted people have learned they don't need to depend on other people. So this research kind of suggests that people are healthier if they've learned that they can depend on themselves. I just find that really, really interesting. I had that come across my feed today, and I got distracted, so I didn't check who was saying it. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but that's what stood out to me. And so something about going inside, being alone in solitude. And that's how it's done in Buddhism. You go to these communal spaces or retreats, and go into the Dharma hall. You go there for X amount of days. Some people do it for a month, and a noble silence where you learn to be with yourself and whatever comes up in your experience without speaking to other people. So that's thousands of years old practice, and it's still going. And more people are attuning to it and realizing the benefits of it. stepping out of communities, and and there's also these different things going on in the world. Are trying to create ideal communities, or these places of virtuous community, and it's an interesting thing. I'm not sure how possible that is. It always seems to go wrong. They always seem to end up having fights, no matter which way they do it. And I've looked into lots of them, different retreats around the world, different ways of living, and it's a very interesting thing. How to hold the conversations without feeling too violated, or feeling violated, and being able to have the compassion to hold it. Where do you learn compassion to hold something? It's inside you. Externally, other people trigger your, challenge you. So it's an interesting thing. You're leaning too much into um, cultural stuff, and kind of abandon your own self-regulation, or you're leaning too much into the internal world, and not being able to be with others. Or do you kind of move down the path between yin and yang, so to speak? Yeah, just interesting. It's interesting when you go into different groups and you've got ideas of how it should be, and yeah, of course you should follow that idea when you're in trouble. It's difficult to have conversations if you disagree. Anyway, it's one of those days where I've had lots of ideas of what to talk about, and I landed up just having a ramble. So I think I've digressed a bit. So I'm going to leave it there, and go well.